recognizing that abundance is our birthright. We were told that only a select few are allowed to, have access to this type of abundance. Abundance is for everyone. Is what we come here having. It is our birthright. So to recognize that is the biggest step. You know, I think also having the audacity to bet on yourself. We often, be like, are like, this person can do it. I know you can do it. You can make it. Yes, you can. You can reach those heights.
Hello, Cynthia. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm great, Elisha. How are you?
I am doing quite fine, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Cynthia, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, Cynthia, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Cynthia, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Cynthia, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves are all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Cynthia, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. You see, the mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree has got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Cynthia. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day, and I was so, so excited. Here's my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Cynthia that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions, Cynthia. This stuff's so beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things that Cynthia is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to look selfish, and even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Cynthia. So thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, Cynthia.
That is a beautiful story, and I take all of that in because, it's been a journey for me to invest in myself. So I really truly appreciate those words.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. So let's get started, Cynthia. You see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Cynthia, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge alone, but the application of it. And you see, Cynthia, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Cynthia on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So those folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Cynthia, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, Cynthia, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Cynthia got here. Then, afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Cynthia, over to you.
All right. Well, it's a journey, right? It always is. And I'd say that this venture in particular began I'd say maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Prior to that, I was working as a registered veterinary nurse. I was doing that for about 12 to 13 years. Um and it came to a point at the end of my career where I really still enjoyed what I was doing. I really loved working with animals. I really loved medical science. I was so still very passionate about it. But I kind of just felt like I had my fill, if you will. I wanted to explore different parts of myself, so I kind of wanted to see what that looks like. I worked a lot of overnight shifts. I worked mostly in emergency hospitals. So, a lot of those nights, you know, um, were like taxing on the body, on the spirit, and, all of those kinds of things. Additionally, I have two girls, two children, and um I wanted to, I guess, just own more, can have more control over my personal time. Working those overnights, it just did a number on me, and I felt like I wasn't able to like be as present as I wanted to be with them. I was just so groggy, so tired, my mind so cloudy, you know. And so I kinda like I didn't stop going to work, but I definitely I'm no stranger to scarcity. I'm a child of 7. So, it's I know.
Got it.
And so it kinda came to the point where I chose that over continuing to sacrifice my time away from my kids. And so, I wanted to pivot, so I stopped going to work as much. I kinda, again, just claimed, I would rather, stretch this dollar. And at the same time, I wanted to start my own business. I didn't know really what that looked like. I embarked on this journey of learning about myself. I had actually gone through a really big breakup, and it was earth-shattering for me, to say the least. I was down bad, Elisha. And so I embarked on this healing journey of trying to discover who I was, and how I showed up creatively. And so I honestly literally started with a coloring book because I was always self-proclaimed not creative. And so I wanted to see like what I would look at my daughters and I'd be like, "Oh my goodness, they're so creative, I want to be creative too." And so I started coloring, and that was a challenge in and of itself because I just overthought everything. And eventually it went from the coloring book, and I started making jewelry. And that kind of had this domino effect. This kind of like, once I got exposure to create my creative side, I was just like, oh, I want to see how I show up. I want to see all the different ways that my creativity likes to show up. So I started making jewelry. And I started doing other things like that, just other outlets, other expressions, tooth gem applications, fairy hair installation. I'm very spiritual. I love giving spiritual guidance. So, I added that in to monetize that, giving spiritual advice, doing readings for people. I have a 360 photo booth that I give, I you let, I allow for rentals. all these different parts of me, right? That they had nothing to do with one another, but they were all different expressions of me. And I set forth to monetize that. I was reading a book one day, and she actually, the lady in the book, had actually talked about her starting a multi-passion business. And I was like, that's it, multi-passion, multiple passions. I'm just monetizing multiple passions, all the different ways I show up. There's no box that I have to stick in. I hate boxes. So that's easy for me. I just kind of make my own rules, and I just go from that. And so from there, it was just like, I want to show everyone that we have what it takes right now, just using your skills now, your passions now, your talents now. And you have the ability to take those things and, make money off of them. I think that a lot of times we think that, our, our unique gifts, the ones that are not traditional or not professional, they don't have any place in the business world. But you know with Tree, you're allowed to, you have a platform to take all of those things and monetize them. So that's kind of how I got here.
Amazing. What a beautiful journey. And the fact that you
Yeah.
went through that painful process and you came out of it. And you're doing this beautiful stuff. You say you went on a journey of discovering who you are. I tell you, that's very inspiring and that's so important because I believe there might be some listeners right now, or maybe the listeners know someone who are currently stuck in what you came out of and they've given up on life. You see, just by listening to your beautiful story now, it might inspire them to want to, never give up and keep moving. And that's a beautiful one. Thank you for all that you're doing. Hey, Cynthia, it is amazing. Thank you. So I've got
Thank
some
you.
questions here. Yeah. So, what inspired you to create Tree? Got it?
I would say the biggest thing is, I do things by the book adjacent. I don't like to do things, the way that we're told to do them. I'm an unconventional person. I like to show up in spaces just, in an unconventional way. I feel like I have an unconventional mindset, kind of a rebellious mindset. I like to do not as, we're told. So I think that was the biggest driving force that, the me having this mindset allowed me to find the gap in the business world. Again, I am aware that we typically see entrepreneurship as having these traditional skills, these professional services with degrees and things like that, and I wanted to, again, just show everyone that, that's not the only blueprint that we can abide by. And, another thing is that for the majority of us, 99% of us, the biggest thing on our minds and on our hearts, is, making ends meet. You know, we none of us are majority of us are not like rolling in the dough, and I wanted to do something to help people come into financial stability. So that was a big driving force for me. A lot of people around me kind of have that same story where we're just, you know, the fear and anxiety of finances, kind of takes over our mind. It takes us from that present moment. It takes us from time with our family and friends, working extra hours. And I just want to, and I'm honored, honestly, to come up with a solution that alleviates that.
And that's so beautiful. The fact that you discovered a problem and you created a solution for it. Not that you were contributing to the problem, but you decided to create a solution for it. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful, Cynthia. So,
Yeah.
what about this one? What do you think, or what mindset should every new entrepreneur adopt first?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say the first thing is recognizing that Abundance is our birthright. We were told that only a select few are allowed to, have access to this type of abundance. Abundance is for everyone. It is what we come here, having. It is our birthright. So to recognize that is the biggest step. You know, um, I think also having the audacity to bet on yourself. We often, be like, are like, this person can do it. I know you can do it. You can make it. Yes, you can. You can reach those heights. What about yourself when it comes to ourselves? Of course, we all go through self doubt, but the intention is to grow through it and to transmute it, and just again just to have that audacity to bet on yourself. So I think those are the biggest things that are definitely going to start you off in the right direction.
Mm. And that's very important. Understanding that abundance is our birthright and having the courage to believe yourself regardless of the situation. You believe you can do it. That's a very important one. Okay, so what about this? What big lessons did you learn while building tree?
Oh, oh my goodness. There's so many lessons. There's lessons within lessons within lessons. Oh my goodness. Um, you know, I I don't think that I doubted the fact because when I have a vision in mind, I'm kind of bullheaded with it. You can't take this away from me. I'm like a dog with a bone. So recognize that I have the tenacity to get there. I have the determination, and even if I don't have the answer, I have the wherewithal to go figure it out. So my skills, I can stand by it. I think for me, the biggest challenge is honestly like this journey that I'm on right now is, can I communicate my vision? Can I position myself, where I am communicating the vision behind Tree in an effective and clear way? I think that I am currently transmuting the last bit of self doubt, the little crumbs of it when it comes to my communication and whether people will understand it because it's such a paradigm shift. It's such so different from what we know. So can I come out here and go on these podcasts and just in marketing in general and stand on it, bet on myself essentially. You know what I mean? Can I go all the way? Which
Uh,
I can, and I am. You know what I mean? Go all the way and bet on myself and, stand on it. So that's where I'm
mm,
at now.
I got that. I got that. So we have two more to go. Why should people stop waiting for permission to start?
Because everything that you have what it takes right now. It's building a business is not about these big leaps. It's about these small incremental steps. The things that what we often think of when we often think of monetizing things, we think that they have to be, again, very professional, come with a degree and things like that. We don't recognize that the things that people often ask, maybe ask you for help, ask you for advice, ask you for skills. Those are valuable things. You know what I mean? And people will pay because they solve problems. People will pay to have a problem solved. And they don't have to be these big, huge things. I'm talking, you are really good with troubleshooting tech issues. People will pay for that. I don't enjoy doing tech things. So yeah, if I had someone, that I could pay to do that with. Some people don't like shopping, for clothes maybe, and if you're passionate about that, that is valuable. So why not bet on yourself? You know what I mean? Why not go all in on yourself, recognizing that these things are valuable and people will pay you for them.
I got that as well. And that's very important. And that's eye opening, because a lot of people are actually doing some beautiful stuffs that they don't seem to place price on it yet, but they're just doing it out of their free will. I got that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
finally, what simple step can someone take today to act on their ideas?
Okay, well, I'm glad that you asked because I have this written down. I have some actionable steps that I want to give you all. The first thing is I'm big on writing things down because when you write things down, it solidifies it, it clears it up for you, and you have that focused attention, that focused energy, right? And so the first thing is going to be writing down the skills or passions that you want to monetize. Again, this can be simple things, things that come naturally to you, things that you're good at, things that people come to you for, right? Um, so think about abilities like budgeting, organizing, meal prepping, right? Those are simple abilities, but they provide solutions. Also, consider doing things that light you up. This makes your impact bigger. This makes it easier to get through those challenges when you're doing things that actually bring you joy. You know, when I'm working on tree, it doesn't seem like, I'm not dragging my feet because this is something that lights me up. I'm so passionate about it, and that's going to carry you over. Um and then honestly, you want to name your business. Tree allows you to monetize different um different skills, different passions, even if they're not in the same industry. So you do not have to lock yourself into one niche. You can take all different sides of you and start bringing in money from all those different parts. So, think of a name that you want to have. It doesn't have to reflect your offerings. It can just reflect your essence, who you are. Again, I gave you a little bit of information about all the things that I offered. And the name of my business is Goddess on the Loose because, is a reflection of my divinity, and it's a reflection of my freedom, my wildness, So, yeah, right. Go ahead and think about those things. And those are definitely some things that's going to get you started.
Beautiful, and thank you so very much for sharing that. So, to bring this to an end, Cynthia, for folks who would like to reach out to you, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or even ask you questions, how can that be possible?
Okay, well, you can visit my landing page. So, as I am before Tree launches, if you want to sign up with your email, subscribe to the waiting list, you can visit an app named tree.com. And you can visit my social media pages. That's on TikTok and on Instagram. The handle is an app name underscore tree. There I share some tips, some information, um, similar to what we talked about today. You can definitely feel free to send me a message. This is a startup business, but you have to start up at some point, So, feel free to go on there, gain some tips and tricks. And prior to the apps launching, send me a message. And yeah, just get ready to, embark on this journey. It's a whole thing, but it's so exciting and it's so fulfilling. And I wouldn't choose to be on any other journey. So yeah.
So beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, Cynthia. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you, Cynthia.
Yes, thank you, Elisha. This has been beautiful. Thank you so much for having me.
That was a beautiful